second set of the day will be played on Whirlwind, Ladder Edition. With 1 kill, spawning in the top left-hand position as the orange Terran from Kespa Team 8, his name is Cure.
His opponent spawning in the bottom left position with 10-game losing streak, trying to snap it right now. As Blues are playing for EGTL, his name is Revival. You know, his opponent Cure, he was on a 7-game losing streak and he snapped it right just before against Jadong. So Revival, he does have a 10-game losing streak, but it's time for him to snap his losing streak and start getting wins for EGTL once again.
Yeah, we have seen some potential in his games when he first debuted in Pro League. You know, he lost against Flash in his first match, but they had a pretty cool game. And something that I've been thinking about over Revival's past few games is occasionally he will have a favorable position or opening, and he'll actually be ahead of his opponent, but either he lacks that killer instinct to finish off his opponent when he has that lead, or he kind of, I guess, chokes a little bit and fumbles and loses the lead. So I guess it's up to him to find out where in his play those mistakes are and how to prevent them from happening.
I have to say the later explanation makes more sense, because once you start winning and once you realize that you're far ahead compared to your opponent, some players, they start shaking. I'm like, oh my god, I'm actually winning this game against the player. I'm going to snap my losing streak today. And they start shaking. They start making wrong decisions in the games. And that's when they realize, oh god, I should have just calmed down and then played it comfortably instead of, you know, getting really nervous against my opponent. And that's the reason why I lost the game in the end.
Yeah. Generally, players won't lose from playing too safe. Occasionally, it can happen under like really rare circumstances, but players will almost always lose games more from kind of like just, I guess, choking and overcommitting to something and being too aggressive than not aggressive enough.
Yeah, there are times when we look at the games and we know the one player is so far ahead they can go for the attack and win. But the reason why they don't go for the attack in the first place is because they want to make sure they secure the victory by playing it safe. They don't know the exact situation of what their opponent has. They don't know if they have 1 Colossus left or 2 Colossus, so they don't want to risk it. And that's the reason why sometimes we see a really long, drawn-out games between the 2 players.
Yeah, Starcraft is a game of imperfect information. You know, there's that fog of war. You don't know exactly what your opponent's up to, and that's why scouting is so key in this game. And it looks like here he is scouting in the right direction here. He's going to see the hatchery, the hatchery, pool, and gas timing there. So he already knows what's going on. We're going to have Zergling speed start up momentarily here from our Zerg player, and then he'll probably pull his drones off of the gas, or at least 2 of them, following that up.
Well, Cure is getting a double gas behind us. So far, we don't exactly know what Cure is thinking at this point, but he's just sending out Marines around the map, trying to see where the Overlords are and trying to snipe them 1 by 1 if he can.
Yeah, I like that he's trying to do that, because getting an Overlord early on definitely affects the Zerg build order, and it kind of puts them behind a little bit. It's very annoying to lose an Overlord so early in the game. And now we have Revival. He's going to be scouting around the map as well, looking for where his opponent's position is on the map. We do have a factory following up behind the double gas there, so it looks like a pretty standard reactor Hellion opening. And the command center going to be morphing into an orbital as well, so we can call down some extra mules and get that cash money.
Reactor out in the way behind this for Cure. Revival, like you said, you know, Zergling scouting around the map, just droning up behind this. So both players just playing a standard TvZ at this point. Cure just trying to deny the scouting a little bit like we saw with the Marines before, but he couldn't scout anything. He didn't see any Overlords, so the Marines do arrive back at the natural, and Revival getting up to 10 drones.
Yep, not going to be doing anything aggressive early on in the game. Actually, the last time he played on this map, he went for a fast third hatch, and then he went for a big roach timing against his opponent.
Yes.
And it did a lot of damage, but he didn't actually go for the kill, and then he kind of was a little bit wishy-washy about his strategy. It was scouted, and he went for a Nidus anyway. Just didn't work out for him, unfortunately. But this time around, Revolve's saying, all right, I'm just going to sit back, I'm going to take my 3rd base, I'm going to continue droning up and play it very calm-like.
Just going to play it very calm. He exactly
not like the player calm.
Yeah, not like the player calm, but he exactly doesn't know what his opponent is doing, but he should have some good idea, because a lot of Terrans these days, they love to go for the helmet drops.
Oh, they yes, they do. That's something that happens all the time.
Well, even in this game, it's going to happen sooner or later.
Yeah, the armory finishing up right now, as well as the starport. And the Terran players will still get a few Hellions early on in the game, just for that map control, to take out any annoying Zerglings early on. And we already have a reactor that's going to be out for this medevac, so it looks like we'll be seeing a 4 Hellbat drop here, unless he wants to bring these other Hellions back to his main base. The Overlord, though, sees everything here. There's no Marines that take out this Overlord fast enough. The Hellbats are going to pop, and Revival's going to see everything, so it's up to him to defend against this perfectly.
I would have to say, even without looking at the Hellbats come out, he knows that, what is coming. You don't get a reactor right next to the start part early on against the Zerg player unless you want to go for the drop. He doesn't see the armory, but he should know what is coming at his way, and look at this instantly. He puts up a Roach Warren. He's putting down the Spore Crawlers.
Yep, Spore and Spine. Look at the worker count difference as well. Revival already up to 52 workers, and Kira kind of a little bit behind here. He's got the meal, so it's not the end of the world. Also, 5 queens out, so those extra queens, they're going to help in the defense against this double Hellbat drop here. And we're probably not going to see any more Lings for now. As soon as that Roach Warren finishes, I guarantee you we're going to be seeing a few Roaches come out from Revival here.
Yeah, I like this. He's putting the Spine Crawlers at the natural, trying to put as much static defense, and the 2 queens are going to defend against the medevacs. But you also have to be careful, because even if you take out the medevacs, if the Hellbats do land in the middle of the drones, it's going to get a lot of kills.
All right, and here we go. We have a double prawn drop. Harassment here. We have 4 Hellions in the third base, and 1 medevac does go down here. So far, solid defense from Revival. Oh no, he's going to lose some drones there, though. Loses a good amount here, unfortunately. I think the second medevac is picked off, though, so those Hellbats will eventually fall here. Decent defense of the third as well. And Revival at 50 drones right now, so he may lose a few more here. It looks like a few more are going to pop down, but his defense is pretty good here. The second Hellbat drop is coming, though, so he's going to have to defend against this as well.
Well, like we always say, the Hellbat drops once it starts, it never stops. Cure just kind of streaming down once again. 19 drones have been killed so far, but Revival has been, constantly droning up behind us instead of making a lot of roaches against the Hellbats.
And behind this, Cure is grabbing his third base, making more barracks behind this. Working on his upgrades right now. His +1/1 has been delayed a little bit from this attack here. His engineering bays are going to finish up pretty soon, though. And here we go. We have a second drop at that third base. The Hellbats roasting all of the drones there. Revival pulling a few away, but he keeps losing a lot of them there. And the Spine Crawler and Spore Crawler will be able to finish off all these units here. But still losing a lot of workers. We have another Hellbat drop going into the natural here. There's a Spine, but the problem is the Hellbats can still kill off those drones very fast here. Good splitting, though, from Revival. He doesn't lose too many drones to this as long as those Hellbats don't reach those drones in time. Looks like he should be safe there. Oh! He saves them.
Should be safe, but 38 drones have been killed, and the problem with the Hellbat drops is, like I said, it never stops, and 2, if Zerg screws up once, then he loses 10 drones, 15 drones at a time. And it's completely worth it for Terran players, because there's not going to be any counterattack coming towards him. He could take a third base relatively easily behind us.
And there we go. Another Hellbat drop at the third base there. Revival pulling some of his units there. Revival's doing a great job at sniping these medevacs, which I think is one of the reasons why he's not losing more units. And if we look at the worker count, Revival is at 68 drones right now. He's actually he's just been making drones behind this because he knows, well, I know I'm going to lose some drones here, so I just need to keep making them close. Still 42 workers killed here, but Revival's at 71 workers. The problem is now he's only up to 14 roaches, and we have Kier going in for somewhat of a push here. Stim has finished for him, but he doesn't have any major upgrades, and he is lacking the combat shields as well, so these roaches should do okay against this composition here, as long as Revival can squeeze out a few more units and by the time this attack comes.
And he also needs to utilize the Queen's, but Cure is slowly pushing up. The Roaches are in position, but the Hellbats are also supporting from the back, and those are 2 medevacs supporting the main army.
That's true. 1 Hellbat does go down here. It looks like there's going to be enough Roaches, and yeah, this attack is going to be thwarted quite easily, but it looks like the medevacs are moving in with the units towards that main base there. There's 2 queens there to help defend, but the problem is the Roaches need to join the party as well. And we have yet another multi-prawn drop come here from Kira. These queens, nice job with the micro there. Revival's actually playing really well this game, despite losing a good amount of drones. He hasn't suffered any critical damage. He's been able to deflect this drop now, but there's going to be another one. It looks like it's going to go to that natural, potential third base. The harassment from Kira isn't over just yet.
Well, his style of defense compared to all the other Zergs in Pro League was really unique by the fact that, you know, when they see the Hellbats, they start making a lot of roaches to make sure the Hellbats do not get dropped into the place. Vivar was like, I don't care if you roast up to 50 drones, I'm just going to remake 60.
Exactly. That's
while
what
not
he's done
making as many units, and he's been doing a fantastic job. He has a lot of roaches against the main army. The medevac drops aren't doing as much at this point.
Yeah. Now, let's look at it from the other side as well. Here, he has managed to secure his third base. He's continuing to keep the pressure on his opponent, but the 2-2 upgrades has already almost completed for Revival, so he's going to be setting himself up for a great position later on in the game, as long as he doesn't fall to any critical damage that comes from these drops here. And the reason why Kira is able to take this third is because he's keeping the aggression on his opponent the entire time, but that medevac and the units get picked off here. The medevac at that third base is pretty low on health. Pumped the 54 workers up in kills here, but Revival still in a solid position macro-wise.
Yeah.
And Cure, he is behind in supply here, but not by too much.
Well, what Cure all he tried to do is force the roaches to be back at the natural, be back at the third base, so that his opponent, Revival, does not push out on the map, and Cure can secure the third base relatively easily by setting up a position over there.
We have Cure starting his 2-2 attack. He's got siege tanks in the mix here, so this is a mindless army composition. And look at this Revival going for the attack here. He's got the Banelings. His 2-2 not just yet complete, but I don't even think it'll matter here. Nice.
That's a lot of units.
Tanks, but the Roaches, they're overpowering this Terran army. The tanks are going to fall here. It looks like the Marines, there's not enough of them to support. Baneling reinforcements joining the army here as well. And Cure, it looks like he may fall to Revival here at this position. He doesn't have many units left at this point, but the Roaches, they're overwhelming Cure at this point.
Well, it seems like he's really close to snapping his 10-game losing streak as Revival right now, tearing apart the natural, but he also needs to make sure now, since now he's in a comfortable position, he needs to make sure he plays the game solid and do not overcommit starting at this point. We saw Revival in this position plenty of times in the past 10 games, and then he overcommits, loses too much army, allows his opponent to go for the counter-attack and win the game.
Revival now, he's doing what you said, you know, he's not going to overcommit at this point. He's going to back up. He's morphing in 21 Banelings right now. Constant Zergling and Baneling production here, making a few drones behind this. He's got that 2-2, don't forget. He's also got a fourth base up now, moving in with this army mix and the Marine split. Is it going to be enough here?
No, that's
okay, but there's not enough units from our Terran army here.
Yeah, no siege tanks left for the Terran player. No Widow Mines have been built throughout the game so far, which means that the Zerglings and the Banelings can connect to the SCVs and the Marines all day long at this point.
The SCVs, it looks like they're getting very low on health there. With the additional Baneling reinforcements and those Roaches, that's going to seal the deal. Revival, he's going to break his 10-game losing streak today, defeat Kier, and secure their first win for EGTL today in this match.
You know, Cure, he's just trying his best to stay in the game. He's trying to get the multiple kills, trying to bring the momentum back to Kespa teammate, but at this point, it's too much. As Zerglings are streaming in. GG!
Revival breaking his losing streak and, more importantly, looking quite solid in that game there. He actually played very well. He handled all the drops well. Even though he lost a lot of workers, it seemed like that was part of his strategy. He's just like, I'm just going to keep making drones. I'm going to focus on killing off the medevacs and keep my static defense alive as well. Everything worked out for him that game.
And that was actually a fantastic concept, since a lot of Zerg players have been saying we cannot defend against the Hellbat. So the one answer is just ignore the number of losses, just try to save as much as possible and make more, because you know the Terran player is not going to push out anytime soon.
So it looks like Revival able to pick up the slack that Jaedong left in game number 1 here. The real question is, will Revival get multiple kills today?
Well, his CBT has been looking solid, but now he might have to play another